Hello everyone, Tom Smith here, here for my answers video, plus just some small updates I just wanted to post to everyone on. It's been a week, so I figured now's the time to answer your all's questions. I've got the video right here so I can read off. I'm going to start pretty much with the bottom and work my way up to the most recent questions that were asked. Some quick updates. The retrospective series is obviously finished. I'm right now working on the anniversary trailers. There's going to be a total of 7 of them because there's the Bond films, which I've already posted, and the Lost Scene. Then there's going to be the Survivor. That's going to be the 3rd one. The Filmmaker trilogy. Well, I mean it's only 2, but I'll put the date for the final cut. The Filmmaker trilogy trailer. Martial Law, I'm going to do a super trailer for that, all 3 films. And then class projects, I'm going to put them all together. And then finally one that's every other project that didn't have a nice, neat little category to fit in. So like What You Leave Behind, Yes, Hard Goodbyes, that sort of thing. Calm Before the Storm, those films. As you may note, the Blue Diamond Director channel has gotten a big updates. A lot of stuff's been reorganized. There's custom thumbnails now on every single video. I just tried to make it look a little more professional. I mean, even back to the very first video, everything's now got a custom thumbnail. The Blue Diamond page, links down at the bottom, it's been updated. As well as there's the Lost Scene page, and the Survivor page, and Reflection of the Soul page. There might be one for Death is Forever eventually. We'll just see. I'll go from there, and then so I'll just update it from there, and we'll just get this show on the road here for a second. Also on May 12th, I'll be posting one final last overall 10-year anniversary video, because it will be 10 years since the Blue Diamond Director channel got started, which will end the whole anniversary stuff. After that, there will be no more. I've done the retrospective, I've done the anniversary trailers, and I would have done this final 10th anniversary. So after that, everything should slow down. I know I've been a lot more active these last couple months than I have been in a long time. I've been posting a lot of stuff and everything. But I've been just trying to get everything updated to make everything look nice, might as well. It's a good time as any. It's the 10th anniversary. So we're going to go ahead and start answering questions now. Just wanted to give you those updates. And there's going to be a jump cut here because my battery seems to be dead. So now after that rather obvious jump cut, had to change the battery out, I am ready to go on answering these questions. So here we go. First question I have is from AGC Bond Alex, Gary's mod. Hey Tom, what's your advice for someone who's never edited, acted, or directed a film before? First thing I would say is try not to bite off more than you can chew. I learned that kind of the hard way with Price of Loyalty and Shadow Revenge, which nearly finished us because people got burned out because they were such difficult projects. These days, I don't think either of them would be quite as difficult as they were then, because we knew what we were doing. I would definitely say just do what's within your reach. What you think is in your reach. You're gonna have to learn your own boundaries, how far you can push things. But do what you want to do. I would definitely say look for videos, ask people, ask for advice. Pick out what editing program you're gonna do. For editing, one thing I did that got me a little better at editing was I've got a secondary channel, Editing Sith Lord, where I made a lot of fan-made trailers and rescores and that sort of thing, and just fun little videos editing movies that actually already existed. especially making trailers. It was just a good way to get used to cutting and pasting and using audio elsewhere. And this is a good way to learn how to edit. I find it a very useful way to edit. But of course, there's YouTube tutorials, and just do some research. Directing, just work with your people. Remember, the volunteers, most likely, unless you're doing something different that I have never done. The volunteers, they're here, they're out to help you. That's my main thing I could say about directing, is just remember that these people are here to help you. So just try to have fun. That'd be another important thing. Acting, I don't know. It depends on what your style is. I mean, there are many different styles with acting. I mean, I just kind of went for it. I just knew the character I was playing and just went for it from there. Like playing Bond, I just went for it because I knew Bond. So I just tried to do my best to be Bond. I was trying to be like Lazenby's Bond the first time around. Just tried to make it natural. Sorry, I can't really answer that question that easily because everyone's different. That's the problem with that. Everyone's different. So really just go with your gut. And just don't quit, don't give up, but most importantly, have fun. Have fun. If you don't have fun, it's not really that good an experience if you don't have fun. So that's about the best I think I can answer that. Definitely look at tutorial. Oops. About that. Definitely look up stuff. There are enough tutorials and stuff. And, just look it up. Just do some research. Look it up. Ask like you're asking me. You can ask around. If you have more specific questions, just send me a message and maybe I can respond in text for you. If there's something more specific, but this is pretty broad, so I'm gonna go with that as my answer on that. Sorry if it's not as helpful as you were hoping for, but honestly, that's about the best way I can answer. Everyone's different, just have fun. Let's see. Okay, from Aaron Delker. Sorry if I pronounce any of this stuff wrong. Hi Tom, I have 2 questions. And the first one is, what made you change your mind to bring back Death is Forever? And the second one is, what is the synopsis of the story? Well, bringing back Death is Forever is, it's interesting. First off was just fan requests. I mean, I've never had a film more requested by my fan base than this. Like, so many people, when I mentioned that I wasn't gonna do it, when it looked like we couldn't do it, bands were, no, you have to do this film, please do Death is Forever, that's the one film we want you to do, please do it. I mean, it made it very difficult to say no. After seeing that big a fan response, I was like, this is the film everyone really wants to see, and I still really wanted to do it, I just didn't think we could do it. Then, after getting together with some of my friends and talking a little bit, it looked like maybe we can do this. And then also the fact that I think I know when Blue Diamond's probably going to be done and over, so it would be nice to actually, instead of bookending 10 years like the original plan was, to make this film, this will be the end of Blue Diamond, and it'll be the bookend to the whole thing. Start with a Bond film, end with a Bond film. So it sounds like a good finishing point. But really, it is definitely because mostly the fans. Plus, I've just been really wanting to do it. I mean, I've been helping writing other scripts, and it's really got me back into the mode of, hey, let's do this. Let's do this film. I love the script idea I have. I can't really tell you much of the synopsis, except what I can say about the film is there's going to be callbacks to all 3 previous films, Price of Loyalty, Shadow of Revenge, and Reflection of the Soul. At some point I want to post a video where I'm going to explain the timeline of this Bond, because it's kind of interesting, because I borrowed elements from both the books and the movies, so I want to explain exactly what you need to know. But there will be callbacks to all 3 films. It'll kind of wrap everything up in a nice little story. Not in the way that's, not the heavy-handed way that Spectre did it. So before anyone says, oh, you're going to do like Spectre where it was all one person's plot. No. That's not what I mean. But it will kind of tie the overall themes. There's been some threads that have been in all 3 films. And if you've been paying attention, you may have noticed those threads. So, it's going to wrap up those story threads that have existed. They'll be more obvious in this film, but it'll be nice to kind of wrap it all up in a nice, neat little package. So, what I can say about it is after Bond is captured, yes, we're going with that kind of approach. Kind of like Die Another Day, but I think we're gonna do a little better. I think than Die Another Day did. After Bond's been captured, he is then rescued by MI6 and sent on a new mission. Only the problem is, on his mission, he begins to wonder who he can trust and who he can't trust, what is real and what is not real, and a whole web of lies and truths and half lies, half truths. Bond will discover who he is and deal with his past, and also realize that in this world of truths and lies, the one constant is that death is forever. I know, it's, I didn't even think of a synopsis until just now. I just made that up, so it's not as well worded as I would like to actually word the actual synopsis. That will be coming in the next couple months. Once the script is finished, I'll write out a decent synopsis and post it up, but that's as much as I can tell right now with the story. So look forward to doing it a lot though. So thanks for your question about that. Okay, next question is from AP Pro 5, Martin Groff. Okay, I like this question. With the rise of other genres like daily vlogs, makeup videos, gaming videos, etc., and increasing dominance of YouTube celebrities, what do you predict is the future of small filmmakers' short scripted films on YouTube? They're dying out. It's about the best I can say. It's dying out. I mean, most of the filmmakers, the short filmmakers, have moved over to Vimeo. Like, you find more very good short films on Vimeo. I mean, a lot of my class projects are on Vimeo, but there's a lot more stuff like that on Vimeo now. But the problem is most people don't go and watch Vimeo just to watch films. So your audience it's greatly reduced. Like, I know my videos don't even have hardly any views because it's Vimeo. Nobody really gets on Vimeo unless you're wanting to watch short films. It's not like you're gonna accidentally stumble upon it as easily as you would with YouTube. It's a dying thing, and it really makes me sad because I remember when I started 10 years ago, short little films on YouTube were all the rage. Like, it was a big thing. Same with fan-made trailers and rescores of movie scenes. Those were like 3 big things, and now it's kind of going the way of the dinosaurs. So I don't think it looks very good. I mean, everything's going over to Vimeo now, and you know, we all get less comments, less likes, less. I mean, we get some decent number of views, but nobody ever really comments on the videos anymore. I mean, I know you've noticed that and mentioned that before, but it's not like the same like it was. Even 5 years ago, it was different. It's changed a lot in the last 10 years, so honestly, I just see it just slowly dying out, fizzling out, which is another reason why I don't mind the idea of Blue Diamond kind of ending in a few more years, because, I mean, how much longer is this going to be able to keep up before nobody's really watching these sorts of films on YouTube? That's all I can say. But I mean, let's just keep pushing, though. Let's not quit, you know, don't completely give up, but it's mostly just moving to Vimeo and that sort of thing. It's become much more difficult. YouTube's become such a commercial grab, you know, quick grabs of views and that sort of thing. That's just what it's become. Unfortunate, but it's the truth. That's what it is now. So, oh well. I mean, that's what I predict. I mean, I could be totally wrong and totally crazy. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm just looking at it from that perspective. It just seems like most of it's already switched over to Vimeo, and the rest is following slowly, piece by piece. That's why you don't see as much on YouTube. You still can find it. If you know where to look, you can still find good stuff. But yeah, it's become all about like how-to videos, movie. I mean, I don't mind those channels too. I mean, I've got quite a few things I like to watch, like Star Wars Explained, Star Wars Theories, Calvin Bond Reviewer, you know, those sorts of things where people just review film. I don't mind those sorts of channels, but Filmmakers, yeah, it's just getting smaller and smaller a market now. We don't have the same dominance we used to have 10 years ago, 5 years ago. It's not the same. So, I think it's just slowly dwindling. Maybe it'll switch around and go rise back up, but at this moment, the way YouTube's set up now, it's not set up for us anymore. It's set up for the videos that are popular now. So, thanks for asking that question, though, Martin. I enjoyed thinking about that. Because, yeah, it's a legitimate concern. So, thanks, Martin. Dan Roland asks, is it safe to project an estimate time for when Martial Law 3 will be out? If it's uncertain at the moment, that's cool too. Also, just out of curiosity, how long do you expect Death is Forever to be? Are we looking at the same runtime as The Ambitious as Shadow of Edge, or Reflection of the Soul runtime? Okay, first off, Martial Law Reconciliation. Martial Law Reconciliation is pretty much ready to go. Auto's writing the score. That's literally the last thing. Visual effects are already done. Sound effects are already done. It's all edited up. Credits are already put in. Everything's put in. Literally, Auto's score is the last thing. And it's not going to take him that long. So, we've been trying to think about maybe pushing back its release date so we can get Patrick and Louisa here to watch the premiere, but we're also considering the idea of not doing that and just eventually, once they come over, just having a marathon with them and just watching it all together as a group. Maybe even having a marathon of watching all three, but maybe, you know, at least watching it with them at some other time because we don't want to delay the film too long. So, right now, I'm just spitballing here. July, August, I'm looking at for its release. Obviously no later than December, but I'm looking at... Right now, I'm thinking August. The first teaser trailer will be coming up in about, you know, maybe a month. Maybe in May, I'll probably drop the first real teaser, then there'll be a few character spots, and then finally the final trailer. Once we have the actual official date, the final trailer will come out, and then the film will come out. So it's pretty much ready to go. So I'm thinking July, August. So that's about my best guess right now. How long will Death is Forever be? I'm thinking somewhere in between Reflection of the Soul and Shadow of Revenge. I'm looking at 2 hours. Right at 2 hours. I think that'd be a good time for it. Obviously, if it only runs 90 minutes, that's fine. I want that to be the bare minimum. So basically, Reflection of the Soul is the minimum. Reflection of the Soul time length is the minimum, 94 minutes around there. And 2 hours and 22 minutes is the max. So I'm looking for somewhere... The minimum is Reflection of the Soul to runtime. The maximum is Shadow of Revenge runtime. I'm looking for somewhere in between. Around 2 hours. That's what I'm hoping for with the film, because I think it's a good way to tell the story and tell it properly. So that's what I'm looking for. So thanks, Dan, for those questions. Prestige Video Productions asks, what do you enjoy the most and least about the process of filmmaking? Editing. That is my favorite. Editing. I love editing movies. If I had actually decided to make film a full-on career, I would have done editing probably most of all. I would have seeked out being an editor. I do like setting up shots, doing cinematography work. It is fun. I love seeing the final product, but I love putting it together in the editing room. It's so much fun to sit there and watch it all come together and do the color correcting and do all that stuff. I love it. I love using Adobe Premiere Pro and just editing it all up. It's such a great moment. I do like directing and all that, and I love acting, especially when it's like something like martial law and I get to wear, we get to all wear really cool costumes on really cool locations. That is fun too, but I would definitely say editing is the least favorite. Scheduling. Scheduling and getting everyone together and getting everyone to the sets and sitting there and waiting and wondering if everyone's going to show up or people are going to cancel and trying to scramble and figure out how to work around cancellations and that sort of thing. I hate doing that. I've done that many times and I hate it. So scheduling, being basically production manager on set, and assistant director, it's just frustrating. I've been assistant director, especially like with martial law. I was helping direct, and it just gets frustrating when you're trying to manage everything. And I was production manager on martial law reconciliation, Chelsea Riley's spot, and it was bad just trying to manage everyone. That's the hard part. Like, I can manage everyone as a director, like here, what we're doing in the scenes, but man, getting people there, the logistics, don't like it. But you gotta do what you gotta do. But yeah, so that's the answer to that. Thanks for that question. The Gore 1021 asks, is Death is Forever going to be based on the James Bond book, Death is Forever? No. I can say that right now, no. Is mostly just I'm taking the title. I like the title. I really like the title. I mean, there's a few other titles I like too. I mean, we could have used quite a few different ones. I mean, I've been writing several scripts which use various cool title names, but Death Forever is definitely my favorite of the titles I've been able to use. I know it is the John Gardner novel, was titled that, and there will be elements of the John Gardner novels as well as the Ian Fleming ones, and possibly some of the Raymond Benson stuff in the film. There will be definitely influences. There is some character stuff that comes from the Gardner novels. I can say that for a fact. But no, it is not based on that book. I'm mainly just taking the title. I mean, let's face it, some of the James Bond movies did that. Moonraker, Spy Who Loved Me, they pretty much just took the title. You only live twice. It took maybe some thematic stuff, but not really based on the book that the title came from. So Death is Forever, do not expect it to be based on the book by John Gardner. No. Just mostly just using the title. It's a really cool title. But there will be some influences from John Gardner and Ian Fleming, obviously. Good question, though. Are you able to have cars and action scenes for the Bond movie to make the movie look realistic? Car chases, probably not. Mainly because we can't afford to get an Aston Martin or a Lotus or anything like that. That's the problem. The problem with fan productions is you're limited by your budget, and pretty much have no budget. We're gonna have very, very small budget unless we were to do some kind of Kickstarter, which I don't think I really want to risk doing with fan films like this. It gets a little tricky with that. But it's like we don't have much. So, I mean, unless I'm driving my vehicle, why would I be, a Suzuki? I mean, Bond's driving a Suzuki. I mean, what's that? I mean, we did it in our first two films. But a Honda Civic, I mean, Bond's driving a Honda Civic, what the hell? I mean, it doesn't really look that professional. I mean, I know some people just do it anyway, but we don't really have any good-looking car. The best we could do is a Mustang. As a red Mustang, Micah's Mustang would be about the best-looking car we could do for a car chase. But I don't know how people would react to that, so I don't know if we're really going to do anything with cars. I mean, last film, we just used some stock footage off of YouTube of Aston Martins and stuff just to do some... It was mostly just so we'd have some transition scenes. I needed some transition scenes, and I figured, we'll just show Bond in an Aston by just filming... by just taking some stock footage of an Aston Martin driving. From like Top Gear and stuff like that. So that's what we did for Reflection of the Soul. I don't know what we're doing with this film on that, in terms of cars. But that's the biggest problem with doing fan films and cars. is most people aren't going to have access to a DB5. I mean, you just aren't. So you have to find some way to make it work. I know some people have been able to do stuff with getting fancy cars, but not us. I mean, we're in the Midwest of America. We're not going to be able to get a hold of anything really that sweet. Mustang would be about the best thing we could do, which might use that. I mean, it just depends. It also depends on where the script goes. If I don't feel like there needs to be a car scene in the movie, it won't be a car scene in the movie. So, it's about the best way I can answer that question. We'll see. Okay. Ryan Rust. Last question. Ryan Rust. Do you plan to do more original content stories with actors and such? Right now, Phase 3 is really not looking like original stuff, unless you count like the Lost Scene original, but everything's pretty much like a sequel or part of another part of a project. That's mostly just because we're just trying to wrap stuff up. This is definitely, Phase 3 is definitely a wrap up of mostly Phase 1 stuff. It's kind of funny. I mean, you know, we got the Lost Scene movies, which, by the way, update with that. I should have put this at the beginning of the video, but I didn't. The Lost Choices is now the Lost Scene 4. Lost Scene 4 is now called Choices, is now actually officially getting the title of the Lost Scene attached to it. It feels like a Lost Scene movie, and we're about to film some stuff which is going to really tie it into the series. So it made sense to me to actually make it the Lost Scene. The Lost Scene 4. So Retribution is now going to be the Lost Scene 5, and Redemption, if it's made, will be the Lost Scene 6. I mean, then we got Rough Justice, The Final Cut. The Final Cut, I mean, it's kind of original, but I mean, it is loosely tied into the Filmmaker trilogy. So I don't know exactly what you're saying is original. Are you saying completely original ideas even for us, or just original in terms of content? Because if you're talking about original in terms of content, the only thing that's being like a fan film or something is the Bond movie. The Lost Scene's completely original stuff, and The Final Cut's original, and Rough Justice is is a spin-off of Patrick Stark's martial law trilogy, so, which was an original story he made, so it is kind of an original idea. But yeah, that's what I mainly can say. Unless we might do some shorter film projects that just come up, but the plan is right now to get, you know, the Lost Scene 4 Choices out, and then to work on the Final Cut and, you know, all those sorts of things. It was at the end of the future retrospective video. I have a whole list of what our projects are planned to be. So unless we do some little projects in the middle, that's what we're planning. You never know what might come up, or if someone offers me a short script, something easy that we can film, we might do that. I might have some original stuff, but other than that, that's the plan. The plan is basically do the Lost Scene movies, the Final Cut, Rough Justice, and That's Forever. That's pretty much it. And then set up. So that answers that question. What place do you think fan films have now on YouTube with all the new copyright laws? I don't know. Fan films have always been in a gray area, and I think they'll always be in a gray area because some things embrace fan films. I know Star Wars for a long time has really embraced the fan film community. They've even had contests for fan films. So Star Wars has always been one that's embraced it. Star Trek has really honed down on it because of the whole Axanar thing. So Star Trek's like the polar opposite of that. They've almost said you can't make them. They've got a list of rules which make it very difficult to make a high quality fan film. Like you can only make it like 15 minutes, maybe 30 at max, that sort of thing. And then Bond has kind of been ignored by MGM, but except with a couple of exceptions, they've pretty much just ignored us in terms of our fan films. The only reason Shroud of Revenge and Price of Loyalty are no longer on YouTube was because of the music And music on YouTube has always been a funny thing. So, but since I've had Reflection of the Soul and Death Forever are being scored by Otto Nilsson, there's that. So, yeah. I think they'll just continue. I don't really think they'll slow down unless the studios and those sorts of things really lock down on fan films and start saying, hey, you can't make this, and that sort of thing. Really just put the hammer down and make a stop. I don't see them stopping anytime soon. People just keep making them. And they look nice, and people keep making them. They look better and better. And they're love letters to the series. I mean, I don't see why people get so upset about it. As long as they're not making money, I think they should just be allowed to go their way. But I don't know. Everyone has their own opinion on that. So, yeah, that's my thought. They're just going to continue in some shape or form. Also, what do you aspire with your career path? What would you like to be doing full time? I am about to be going back to school for a couple of years, getting a public health degree. I want to help people. I want to be part of the community. And so I'm pursuing a public health degree, and we'll see where I go from there. I like film. You never know. I might help out. Help out with work on a public service announcement videos, that sort of thing. You never know. But I'm right now currently trying to pursue a degree in public health and eventually get a master's in that sort of thing. So that's where I'm going from here. So that's what I'm going to be doing to the summer 2018 till like spring of 2020. I'll be getting that, and then then I'll just go from there. That's the last question. So that's about the best I can answer. I can't really say what job I want. I mean, there's a lot of options once you get a degree in public health, so I'll go from there. I'll know once I get a little further along in the program. This video is going on long. I was originally going to ask my own question to myself. I was going to ask about what would I do with the price of loyalty now. I think it's mostly just I would make some changes with the story and make it a little bit not a clone copy of Automatic Secret Service. That's about the biggest thing I think I'd do. But I think actually, no, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and answer this question. So my question to myself was, if I was to make the price of loyalty, now remake it, what would I change? What would I do with it? Well, first off, as I said, I would make it not as much a clone of Automatic Secret Service. So, there'd be a lot of changes in terms of the storyline. But first thing I'd change is Q. It would still be Sean playing Q. But it would be established he is Q's assistant. Q is on leave. Sorry about that. My camera seemed to have stopped for some reason. So once again, another weird jump cut. This video has not been exactly perfect. But as I was saying, so I would have Q's assistant. It would be Q's assistant, Daniel Banks. He probably still want to be called Q, or maybe even lowercase q, or some other joke. There would be some joke with that. But it would be Q's assistant. Q would be on leave, which would be established to be Richard Smith's Q. I'm just going to say that. If Richard Smith and James Oxford are the same Q, it doesn't really matter on that. But I would establish that Q is on leave, and this is his assistant, which I think would make more sense. It actually does make a lot more sense. I wish we had made that change and established that in Shadow Revenge, but everything got jumbled, and I wasn't really thinking about it at the time, but that would be a definite big change I'd want to make, is really help establish the Daniel Banks character, since what we're going to do with him. But of course, at the time when we made Price of Loyalty, we didn't realize that we were going to make Daniel Banks Q. That hadn't come up yet until after we were done filming. But yeah, so Q would be Daniel Banks, be his assistant, and Q would be on leave. That would be a definite first change. Crystal Tower would be completely rewritten. Completely. she would be not. It wouldn't be her father trying to set her up with Bond. He would be trying to say, maybe even keep an eye on her. Be more of a bodyguard type situation. Not really a bodyguard, but just keep an eye on her. She's been getting herself into trouble. I make it where she's much more of a troublemaker. Rather than being an agent, she'd be much more of a rebel girl. Like, she goes out and gets into all kinds of trouble, kind of sneaks out of the house type of deal. And, he gets Bond involved just because... See, I hadn't worked out all the... I would change with the story. I would have some reason. I think it would be because she also does do missions for him. And now that MI6 is kind of getting involved with things. And he also has pertinent information for Bond about Dark Moon, which has become the new big crime syndicate. He figures he can just use that as leverage against Bond to get Bond to do this for him for basically free. That would be one idea of how to make that. I would make Martau not as friendly a guy, I guess, if I did that. So, to be that. And the relationship between Crystal and Bond starts to get friendlier. I would definitely have that storyline play out, where she definitely is starting to get more and more attracted to him, and he's starting to get more attracted to her. And then, but at the same time, there is a bit of an age thing going on, so Bond's a little hesitant against her, and then finally has to use kind of his wife as the final, hey, I really can't, because, he's trying to explain, you're too young for me, and those sort of things. And finally, it's not so much that he can't, explain, he can't, it's just, he has to use his wife to finally, drive the nail home that, whoa, and she's like, oh, he went through all that, okay, it finally makes her back off. But he kind of pushes him to finally have him to face up to this again, because it's been buried deep in him about the death of his wife, so I think that's how I would actually play that story out. So it'd be a little different, a little better. It's not great. The Price of Loyalty just isn't a great story overall. Jack Miller would be played out a little differently. I think his plan would be done differently. I'm not sure exactly how, but I would find some other way to do his plan. And also doing the reveal, him and Peter Grant. I love to show more of the inner workings of Dark Moon, too. Instead of just having him go through a closet and just look at supplies, I would actually try to show how this organization works. There'd be a lot more. I think the whole sequence of him being a undercover Dark Moon operative would probably last a lot longer. Let's just say, I'm just spitballing here, double the length. So make it about 2 hours, Price of Loyalty. So I'd say a good 35 minutes of the movie, Bond's the operative. Maybe even 40 minutes. He's an operative. We get a really good look at Dark Moon and Peter Grant and Jack Miller and their relationship, and how Miller's actually the one running the show, but actually Peter Grant's planning on overthrowing him, and Miller's kind of incompetent really at what he does. People just like to let him go around acting like he's the boss, because then that means they got less a price on their head, less attention on him. But since he decided to become the unofficial head of Dark Moon, Peter Grant also kind of feels like he doesn't really serve a purpose now, so I should be the one taking over completely, because I'm already the one being targeted. That dynamic would play out a little differently, which would be kind of fun to play with. There probably would be a few more characters added. I'm not sure what exactly, but definitely doing that, getting the Mark Tyler and Crystal Tyler Red Lynx plot changed up the way I just described it, where she's more of a rebellious child, but she's also not a child anymore, but she also works for her father, and he's a little concerned because she knows more about his operations, and if she gets into trouble with the authorities, then maybe they might try to get information out of her about Red Lynx, and You know, so he's looking out for her because it's his daughter, but he's also looking out, protecting his interests with Red Lynx. So it makes him a little more of a complex character, which I think would be fun. But, you know, this is all pure speculation. But honestly, I think in my head, this is kind of going to be the headcanon going into Death is Forever with the references. I mean, obviously the references won't be so in-depth that it'll be like, wait a minute, that didn't happen in The Price of Loyalty, or, you know, wait a minute, I know exactly when that happened in The Price of Loyalty. There will be character name mentionings, that sort of thing, you know. I will admit, Dark Moon will be mentioned. Dark Moon's not coming back. You know, don't expect like, oh, it's going to be another Dark Moon story. No. They will be mentioned, though. I mean, so, you know, there will be that element. So, and Red Lynx might even get mentioned. So, you know, keep your ears open for little references and stuff. But in my own head, while writing this story, this probably would be the way I picture The Price of Loyalty. That would be fun to kind of go back and refilm it and make it fit more with Shadow Revenge. But then the biggest problem with doing that would be I would want to then remake Shadow Revenge to make it a little better, because there are definitely changes I would make with it. Not as many, though, because I've noticed, while I thought everything, and I thought most people as well, liked Reflection of the Soul more than Shadow Revenge, I've actually discovered there's a lot of people that actually still like certain aspects, or maybe even the entire film, of Shadow Revenge more than Reflection of the Soul. So, Shadow Revenge, I don't know if I would change it that much. There'd be minor tweaks. Mostly be tweaks. I definitely would tweak the story quite a bit. Mainly just distancing it away from being just a copy of Living Daylights License to Kill and GoldenEye. Kind of get it away from that a little bit. So just take some minor tweaks here and there, and I think you could do it pretty well. Because I love the Down Banks storyline. I think it would just make Lopez a little more of an independent character from being just a copy of Sanchez, and develop the Therese character a little bit. So it wouldn't be as much I would change with that one, but I definitely would want to change it if I remade The Price of Loyalty, which is the reason why. At one point we discussed that. It came up a few times. We were like, what if we remade The Price of Loyalty and like made it better? But that was always the problem with doing that. It's like, then Shadow Revenge looks weird. If you watch this version of the Price of Loyalty and then watch Shadow Revenge, it's like, what the hell happened? Then we'd want to remake that one. And if we remade that one, then the next thing you know, we'd want to remake Reflection of the Soul and fix all the problems that are in it, because there are some problems in it too. And then it just gets where you're just retreading your old, you're just going over your steps, and then you're just stuck in a wheel. You just want to can constantly improve what you've made. So that's why we're just making Death is Forever. Just make a really good film at the end. So, but that was the question I kind of had for myself. I have wondered, how would I redo Price of Loyalty? But those are definitely the major themes that would definitely change. So, that answers that question for myself. I hope you enjoyed that. I know I kind of rambled on there for a little bit. I hope you enjoyed this video, even though I had weird things happen during it. But just being me, just answering your questions. Definitely thank you for asking these questions. If you have any more, if I wasn't able to fully answer your question, or you have a little more detail into your question that you want answered, you can always message me in the comments, and I'll just get back to you in a text comment, and we'll just go from there. So thank you for watching. More trailers are coming out, more anniversary trailers are coming up, obviously. Choices is now The Lost Scene 4 choices, so if you hear me call The Lost Scene 5 Retribution, that's what's going on. Retribution has not been canceled or anything, it's just the numbering order's been changed a little bit, because we've now thrown in choices into The Lost Scene series. And then of course there'll be one final anniversary video done on the May 12th. It'll be the final thing I'll be doing for anniversary, after doing the retrospective and the anniversary trailers, and then finally this video. Then I'm done. No more anniversary stuff. We'll be just moving forward with the rest of Phase 3. And of course working on like the James Bond fan films are forever documentary this summer, so keep posting me videos of that. Keep sending videos to me. And I will see you all later. Thanks for asking questions, and I hope these answers are satisfactory. And you all take care.